For Pacifica Radio, I'm Teresa Wierzbianska. Firefighters are battling to maintain the upper hand on a huge and rapidly moving wildfire that swept through rugged mountains north of Los Angeles. The blaze that broke out Wednesday resulted in more than 50,000 people being put under evacuation orders or warnings. In less than a day, it had charred nearly 16 square miles of trees and brush. To the south, Los Angeles officials began to prepare for a potential rain, even as some residents were allowed to return to the charred Pacific Palisades and Altadena areas. The National Weather Service says gusty weather was expected to last through Thursday, and precipitation was possible starting Saturday. Ed Donahue has more.
Firefighters are battling to maintain the upper hand on a huge fire north of Los Angeles. The Hughes fire quickly burned an area around Lake Castaic, about 40 miles away from the devastating Palisades and Eaton fires. Anna Gagurovich didn't wait long to evacuate.
Within 10 minutes, I knew it had already spread like a couple hundred acres. So just that kind of like rapid, motion was really scary. It felt a little more urgent than normal.
She spoke to KABC. More than 50,000 people are under evacuation orders or warnings. Jonathan Drucker is with Kern County Fire.
The terrain here is ugly. It's dangerous. A lot of firefighters can get hurt tumbling down a hill and things like that. So it is dangerous. However, it's not going to stop us. We're going to go in and we're just going to make sure that we do it safely.
Red flag fire warnings are in effect through tomorrow around Los Angeles. Rain is in the forecast this weekend, but that brings the threat of mudslides and debris flow. I'm Ed Donahue.
Meanwhile, some U.S. House Republicans in California are breaking with Speaker Mike Johnson over his suggestion that federal disaster aid be coupled with as yet unspecified conditions on the wildfire-ravaged state. Johnson is a Republican, echoing long-standing complaints from President Donald Trump. Johnson has said there are serious problems in how the Democratic-dominated state is managed. The public comments have left California Republicans in a tough position. Do they stand up for home state interests at a time when Republicans are eager to show a unified front? Republican Representative Young Kim of Orange County says, quote, playing politics with people's livelihoods is unacceptable. Democrat Ted Lieu from Los Angeles says withholding aid is immoral.
At the end of the day, we're all Americans. We're all God's children. And it is simply immoral, not Christian, and un-American to force disaster victims to not get aid because of particular policy priorities that Republicans may have.
Nationwide, immigration actions are coming fast and furious as President Donald Trump moves forward with his executive actions, with Congress following suit. The House has sent Trump his first bill for signature, and it has to do with immigration. Christopher Martinez reports.
President Donald Trump's immigration and border agenda is moving forward quickly and on many fronts. It kicked off on Inauguration Day when Trump signed nearly a dozen immigration orders, followed by actions like a move to end birthright citizenship, the suspension of the U.S. refugee resettlement program, and now plans to militarize the U.S.-Mexico border with 1,500 active-duty troops, among other things. The Republican-majority Congress is moving too. On Wednesday, the House passed a migrant detention bill called the Laken-Riley Act. It requires the detention of migrants accused of theft and violent crimes. It also has a provision that would let states sue the federal government over immigration enforcement. That was put in by Republican Chip Roy of Texas. During the floor debate, Roy spoke about that provision.
To ensure that attorneys general can sue the federal government when the federal government is failing to do its job. Imagine the ability of Texas or North Carolina or Georgia or my colleagues to be able to say, you know what? Enough. The federal government does not get to ignore its fundamental duty under the Constitution to defend its citizens. And the attorneys general of states ought to be able to stop the federal government when it is endangering our people.
Some Democrats spoke against the bill, including Massachusetts Democrat Jim McGovern.
Mr. Speaker, I think it takes a lot of nerve to come down here and talk to us about law and order when the gentleman who just spoke was at a D.C. jail celebrating the release of people who attacked and beat cops here in this Capitol.
Trump had tried to challenge the California law in 2019, but he lost in court. Reporting for Pacifica Radio News KPFA, I'm Christopher Martinez.
And I'm Teresa Wierzbianska for Pacifica Radio.